Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Advanced Bass Fishing, and hope everybody's having a good day, and really appreciate you guys checking today's video out. I want to have a little conversation today about the unpredictability of bass, about how you can educate yourself and you can learn as much as you want to about bass, about seasonal patterns and movements. And some days they're just not, it's a mystery what happened to them. It's like I've had so many days on the water where I have went out just knowing I'm going to catch them. It's just like the conditions are perfect. I've got a lot of experience into those conditions, and there's just no fish to be caught. So I want to talk about what happens when you face one of those situations where you think you're going to catch them and you don't, some things that you can do to really help that out, and sort of give you guys sort of an overall little tutorial on my experiences of this and some things you can do to really benefit yourself on the next trip out there. I'm also, guys, before we get started, a couple quick things here. Just want to invite everybody to please check out my Solar Bat sunglass sale going on. Solar Bat has got, right now, they get ready for summer sale, 30% off my Signature Series glasses, along with 30% off on any prescription lenses. So I'll put that Solar Bat link in the description of the video if you guys want to check that out. And also, guys, please take advantage of that the summer sale right now going on with Tackle Warehouse. They got like 35% off on a bunch of things on the website. I'll put that link in the description also, so I appreciate that. Okay, a lot of you guys that follow my channel yesterday, I did a video yesterday about, I had a trip down at Table Rock Lake, and I couldn't wait to get down there. It's like the second and third week of April at Table Rock Lake, and a lot of lakes across the country, are my favorite times to fish. It's like, I'm going to bet that 95% of the time over the past 40 years, when I went at Table Rock during the middle of April, you're going to catch 20 to 40, maybe even more bass a day. There's a lot of bass up shallow. I mean, there's just tons of bass up shallow, and you can just go through there with a wacky rig and a shaky head and a Ned rig, and you can get a lot of bites. It's not like that at other times of the year, but it is like that in the mid part of April. We go down there yesterday, guys, and I was fully expecting to catch 30 or 40, and we caught 3 all day long. So that made me want to do this video on unpredictability and some things that factor into that, and maybe some things that you can do. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about why are bass unpredictable and why things happen like they happened to me yesterday, as far as you just can't figure out why they didn't bite because you were confident that they're going to do that. Now, every situation is different. It's like when you try to go back through your past experiences and you have a certain set of conditions that are lined up to, allow you to catch bass in a certain way, sometimes there can be one slight variation in that particular equation. It could be the water clarity is a little different, the water level is a little different, water temperature is a little different, the, sunlight conditions different, and sometimes those factors, either one or a combination of those factors, can really make those fish unpredictable, and they're just simply not where they're going to be. Now, from what I have seen, here's some of the factors that determine that. Number one is how much water is being pulled through a lake, or how fast the lake's coming up, or how fast it's dropping. Certain lakes out there, the lake managers have the ability to really pull a lake down fast, or to really shut it off and let it rise fast. And anytime that you have a rapid rise or a rapid fall in the water level, it affects bass either negatively or positively. And a lot of it just depends on the variables. It depends on if the water is muddy coming in, or if it's clear, or how fast or slow the rise is. There's a lot of factors, but nevertheless, out of a set of a dozen different situations or variables on rising or falling water, they impact what bass do. Bass simply do not behave the same when you have a situation that's unstable. Now, most of the time, what we try to base our fishing on is the stability factor of a lake, as far as holding at a pretty normal level, and then it becomes more predictable. But those rising and falling lake levels can have a big part of it. And usually in correlation with that, you have some type of a water visibility change. A lot of times with incoming water, you have some off-colored water with it. A lot of times, on low water conditions, the water can clear a little bit. So the water visibility has a lot to do with it. in correlation with the water temperature. So you have the water level, you have the water visibility, and you have the water temperature as three factors that make fish unpredictable, along with two other final things, which is the weather patterns as far as the wind speed, wind direction, barometric pressure, light intensity, all those factors, and finally the fishing pressure. Fishing pressure can impact bass behavior as much as any of those things I just mentioned. When you're talking about heavy fishing pressure and heavy activity on a lake, it can be a negative as much as a bad cold front or whatever it may be. So you got a lot of different factors: fishing pressure, you got weather conditions, you got water levels, water temperature, water clarity. All those things combined cause unpredictable situations. So what can you do about that? First of all, realize one of the things you have to realize about bass fishing, it is a difficult sport. The days that you go out and catch a bunch of fish are few and far between, unless you're on some type of a private body of water or that you're using, the spotlighting technique, which is not bass fishing. But for traditional bass fishing techniques, fishing is not easy a lot of times. And that's okay, because it's not about catching the fish every time. It's about the overall experience that you have fishing. So here's some things that you can really do to really offset that. When you go out fishing and you have a preconceived idea of what the fish are going to be doing, and those fish are not doing that, you have one or two choices. Number one is either go to a different part of the lake and get into a different set of conditions, whether it be go someplace that's got cleaner water or dirtier water, or you can adjust your techniques accordingly, or thirdly, you can do both. You can adjust your techniques in different parts of the lake. Now, the way that you do that is I sort of have a systematic approach where I have what I call indicator places. Now, these indicator places are prime areas for bass to be. And if you fish enough of those indicator areas, like say you fish 5 or 6 of those indicator areas and you don't catch a fish, that's time to move on. Let me give you guys an example. Let's say it's springtime of the year like it is right now. The fish are going to be back in the coves getting ready to spawn, and you go back into 5 or 6 coves thinking you're going to either see some spawning fish or catching fish shallow, and it doesn't happen. After about 5 or 6 coves where you're not seeing any activity that those fish are up shallow, maybe you don't see any bait fish activity, you're not seeing any cruising fish if the water's clear. At that point, that's when you have to make an adjustment and say, okay, maybe I'm here too early or too late. Let's try something else. Let's move out and fish some points, or let's move over out farther in the cove and fish some boat docks. You can't force something to work if it's not working. You can have an idea about what's going to work, but you can't try to make it work. Now, the only time that there's an exception to that is sometimes during the days there's what I call bite windows, where let's say you're fishing a swim bait at 8 o'clock in the morning and you're not getting bites, but then the sun comes up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and something happens and it activates those fish to bite that swim bait. There are timing situations that will allow you to catch fish on a technique at different times of the day that's not working at different times of the day. But the main thing with that is you've got to stay open-minded, and you got to keep moving, and you got to keep hunting. Bass fishing is it's what it is. It's hunting on the water. You're looking for areas where the fish are at. You're fishing to find the fish. You're trying to determine, where those fish are moving to, where they're coming back from, where they're at the same time, based upon all those conditions that exist the day that you're out there. Every single day is different. It's like there's not a single day that's different. And those factors that I talked about, especially things like current flow and water visibility, that really determines the activity of a bass day in and day out. So the main thing I want to get across in this video, guys, is bass are unpredictable. They really are. And you, as hard as it is to get away from the fact that you want to catch them a certain way, sometimes you have to make adjustments with that. And don't be afraid to make those adjustments, and don't spend a lot of time on the adjustment. It's like if you make an adjustment in an area or a lure selection, all you have to do is give it like 15 or 20 minutes. If it doesn't work, try something else, or if it is working, keep trying to duplicate that in other areas. But if you're going to be an effective, successful bass angler out there, it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort, because nobody likes to be digging down and retying and cutting off lures and tying other lures on and getting up and down out of the front of the boat. Everybody just wants to fish. And from what I've seen, and even I'm guilty of this a little bit myself, is sometimes laziness gets involved, where it's like, you don't want to take the time to have to re-rig 3 or 4 different rods. You don't want to have to take the time to make up a different color jig skirt, or you don't want to have to take the time to reorganize and refit your tackle to make some type of a change in your technique or your presentation. Same with a lot of the reasons why a lot of people break off fish, because they're a little bit too lazy to retie often enough. So try to realize that. It's like, really determine what your goal is. Like, if you're just out there to have a good time and catching fish is like a bonus, not that big of a deal. But if you're really wanting to just maximize it and catch as many fish as you can, you really have to sort of implement some of that stuff that I just talked about. And finally, don't get mad and don't beat yourself up if you can't catch them. It happens to everybody. I don't care who you are. The best bass anglers in the world get frustrated. They zero. They don't catch them. Happens to everybody out there. So just be kind to yourself if you're going through that. So anyway, hope it helps out, guys. We'll talk later.